who the grantors or the settlers of the trust are, and who appointed the Heather and the other two as trustees.
Okay.
Did you want to speak to that, Bob?
They just have issues because there's two in the party that are kind of experienced because they have trusts that they've enacted, and they're just wanting to get those questions answered because they're curious as to how that all works.
Yes, there seems to be a misconception that everybody's been placed under a trust called the One People's Public Trust, and Heather and the other two trustees are the trustees of it. That actually isn't accurate. What's happened is all the trusts that you were under without your knowledge and consent have been removed, is a more accurate way of looking at it. But Bob, go for it.
Well, first I would say this is a question that's asked by someone who hasn't contemplated maybe fully who they are. Who are you is the ultimate question. And when you answer that question, you find, exactly as the document says, you are the creator manifest in creation, experiencing itself as creation. So there's where your authority comes from. It comes from within you, right? What gives her the authority to do that? The fact that she remembered and she has the right to do it. But she could do it just for herself, or she could do it for everyone else. Because ultimately, we're all humanity. It only takes one person to remember that. Only takes one person to remember that you are self.
Okay. So are the terms trust and trustee sort of applied to the OPPT?
Are they? No, they're not misapplied. I mean, it's still a trust, but anyone could be trustee. I mean, if you had raised your hand to do it, you're basically becoming a servant to the people.
But doesn't the trustee have to be appointed by the grantor or settler, or the person who creates the trust? Which
is the creator.
The creator created the trust. It's going back to the original trust between the creator and us. It's reestablishing that trust.
So the creator is the person, or is the entity that created the trust and appointed the three trustees and named all of us beneficiaries?
Actually, if I may jump in there, look, that's actually my understanding of it based on reading the documents. And if you've got people in your group who are somewhat legally inclined, I'd just encourage them to read the trustee bonds and as many of the filings as they can find that relate to refining the trust to what it ultimately became, which was simply the triumvirate this is my view of it, the creator as the grantor, we as the beneficiaries, and the trustees as the trustees. And if you want to ask who appointed the trustees, you would have to say, well, superficially, they appointed themselves, but in fact, what's really happening is that they're appointed, they're literally appointed by the creator.
It's simpler than that. You are part of the trust. The trust includes the creator, the planet, all the manifestations therein. That includes you, at least your body, at least your DNA. That's the creation. Okay, you are the consciousness behind it. You are the creator. You are the creator. You are the creator of your body. You are the creator of all that is you, and you are experiencing yourself through your creation. It is your consciousness, right, that is inhabiting your body. And that is where the authority comes from. And this is why what I said, this person has not really contemplated really who they are. You are the creator, your consciousness. Everything is based on that. Consciousness is the primary factor in the whole universe. And it is your consciousness that creates your body.
And as trustees, what kind of power or control do the trustees have over the trust?
Read those documents, and you'll see what they have is 100% liability. They've put themselves into that position with complete liability for doing the right thing. on behalf of everybody on the planet.
They actually
they've
have
got
they've got no
control
at all.
Authority and control over anybody.
Yeah.
So,
they put all
as
the
a
power in the hands of
we
the
don't
people.
have to turn to them for any sort of, in regards to them administering the trust or any of that. We don't have to look to them for
permission.
Just administering the trust. There's no control that they have that we, as beneficiaries, need to turn to them for.
If you read
it's a spiritual trust, in my understanding.
If you read the documents,
Michael, the creator.
One of the things that's spelled out for the trustees is that they are to offer assistance, but you are to have unencumbered access to all of your value, and they are there to offer assistance in that. That's it.
Great. Okay, so what doc should I show my group?
The trustees bond an oath first. And one of the other documents, unfortunately, are scattered throughout the website. What I think I'll do for next week, I'll make a list of the actual documents that deal with the structure of the trust, because we keep getting this coming up regularly, and I just want to identify the ones that people need to go and have a look at. But I'll give you an example of ones that you need to look at, and they're pretty obvious. In the UCC filings menu, there is a document called One People Secured. They need to read that.
Okay.
That's in 2012 Part 1. And in 2012 Part 2 menu, they need to read Order of Reconciliation Earth Secured, and Co-Custodian. Now, just one final comment before you go. But what Bob's saying is absolutely accurate. What they've done is returned us to our original state where there was nothing here but us and the planet and the Creator. The trust structure is actually a human construct, and because we've been using that concept for hundreds of years, they've simply used that framework because it's part of UCC law and part of common law. It's a common aspect in the way that we administer ourselves. We can kind of create a human construct which sort of fits the situation, but it's still not the real base situation that Bob was describing. And the base situation is the one we really need to keep our eyes on, because that's where our equity is. That's where we all have an equal share and access to the resources of the planet, but at the same time we're co-custodians with the planet and we're required to look after it. So there's just nothing else in the landscape anymore, and the trustees simply brought the trust into existence to give themselves the tools to remove the obstructions that were between us and the Creator, if that makes sense. And they don't stand between us and anything. They are, in fact, the ultimate public servants at this point.
And I want to also speak to this too, because there's something behind this question, and it's an old paradigm thought. What's behind this question is who's in charge.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, that was the two questions that they were hoping to have answered.
Right. Well, no one's in charge. You are in charge of you. This is what it means to be 100% liable. You are in charge of you and your dealings and the things that you create. Okay? That's you are in charge. There is no hierarchy. And when people start to, understand that, that there's no one in charge, no one's under anyone or anything. It's putting the responsibility back in your hands. It's, here's the driving wheel. Take it, right? It's no longer going to be on autopilot, if you choose to. I mean, you can leave it on autopilot if you wish, right? And someone else or a machine can make the decisions for you if that's your free will choice.
Right.
But there's no one in charge. You are.
Great. Well, I appreciate for everything that you guys do, and I'm glad that you